Welcome back, Mason Crosby Show, presented by Verizon, the official 5G network of the Packers. Sparky here. Tommy Wirtz over there. Mason Crosby off today. He's rolling around in Green Bay. You'll know it's him because you'll hear the Mason Crosby Show song playing from his pocket as he's walking around training camp practice, bopping his head. It was funny because yesterday when we did this at 10 o'clock, if you missed it, there's a short up on the YouTube page. You can go check out the Fan Milwaukee. Also can stream the show on the YouTube page as well. The Fan Milwaukee on YouTube of Mason. And when that song is playing, because I was off to the side, so I couldn't see what was going on. Mason is like bopping his head. I mean, he's dancing to it. Mason Crosby was loving that song. Thunder got a little plug in there at the end of the song too. That was a big deal to Mason. He was having fun with it yesterday.
Oh yeah, he is a very humble man. I try to humble him all the time as a joke, really, but I will tell you, he does love being the main character sometimes.
That was so good.
That was fantastic from McD. So shout out John McDonough as well on that.
Yeah,
one.
John McDonough did a great job with that. So anyways, if you missed that Mason Crosby show, you can go back and listen to it either on the Odyssey app, iHeart app, whatever you listen to your favorite podcast at, or go back to YouTube. You can watch it in a short version there as well. I recommend forgetting doing the short version. I recommend going back to listen to the 10 o'clock hour because you want to hear the Drew Wagner reaction to all of it.
Yeah.
They went inside the clubhouse immediately after that song played, our Forbes Brewers writer, because Drew Wagner had everybody in stitches with his reaction.
Yes, it is actually, and you don't even have to go search for that either. That is the Drew Wagner video up from the Mason Crosby show yesterday.
Does it have the song included?
Has the song included in there and everything.
That's
so
it.
you just tune in to Drew Wagner talking about the upcoming series with the New York Mets yesterday, and the song is pretty near the beginning of that segment.
Oh yes, that is the way to go. That's the full experience. You will be. Don't do it if you're at work because you're gonna be laughing too hard and people are gonna think something's wrong or think you're losing your marbles. So yeah, do it when you have an opportunity to really sit down and laugh because it was very funny. John Morden, founder of AGT Golf Book, for our On the Green segment with Mason Crosby, brought to you by Alice Windows, Doors, and More, comes up here in about a few minutes. We'll get to it. So I saw on Twitter yesterday, actually it was a couple days ago, maybe it was 2 days ago, that the Green Bay Packers blitzed on defense 17.3% of the time. 17.3% of the time. That was 30th, I believe it was, in the National Football League last year. So they're at the bottom when we talk about how aggressive they were blitzing and getting after the quarterback at the end of the day. This is from Bruce Irons. The Vikings blitzed 277 times last year, leading the league with a 38.9% blitz rate. That's a lot of times blitzing. The Packers blitzed 112 times, which is a 17.3% blitz rate. I was wrong. It was 31st in the NFL, second to last. The Vikings had 49 sacks. The Packers had 45. And they blitzed, less than half the time. The Vikings had an 8.7% hurry rate. The Packers' hurry rate was 8.5%. And then Bruce points out, but fans complained because Gary and LVN did their jobs. Lucas Van Ness. This is the thing. All offseason, all I've heard from this coaching staff is that they don't want to blitz. All I've heard all offseason is we want to get home with the front four. That's all I've heard. That's all you've heard. Nobody's talking about coming up with exotic blitz packages and changing how we play on defense or anything else. If anything, they may want to blitz less. To that I say, you must be kidding me at this point. You have to be joking, right? The reason I say that is for this topic that Matt LaFleur discussed just a couple days ago about his linebacking core.
Yeah, when these guys are locked in, dialed in, cleats in the ground, they're tough to block on the second level. And there were a couple plays that that really showcased that, and where Coop was able to shoot a gap and get a TFL. But those guys, all those guys have the athleticism that we're looking for, and they just got to continue to showcase that, knowing what to do, getting their cleats in the ground, being ready to play, and reading their keys.
So you're telling me you're going to be 31st in the league in blitzing, and you have Edgerrin Cooper, Isaiah Simmons, and Quay Walker, I'm not going to include McDuffie, but if you want, you can include McDuffie. You have those 4 athletic linebackers, and you aren't going to try and shoot gaps and blitz the quarterback? You're not even going to attempt to try and go get the quarterback with some of these guys? That, to me, that's a huge, gigantic mistake at this point. Now, I understand. I was listening to Andy Herman coming in from the Pack a Day radio show, 8 to 9 weekdays here on The Fan, and he was talking about how he loves Brenton Cox because apparently he's beating up running backs in camp, which is nice. Appreciate that. But I love Brenton Cox too. But he ain't going to be playing linebacker. He's going to have his hand in the dirt. That probably is who Lucas Van Ness's main competition is at this point. And Gabare is going to be another guy, right? But with those linebackers, you're just going to sit there and not bring them? Then there's a piece as well in the Journal-Sentinel by Tom Silverstein talking about Javon Bullard and Bullard's impact and playing in that nickel position and stopping the run and having to become a better tackler. And then, did you read what that said about his offseason? Dude, cut out sugar, redefined his body, all in expectation of, hey, man, I'm going to have to, cover wide receivers more than I have before. I need to be in a better position-wise, stamina-wise, for the endurance that comes along throughout the regular season. Bullard went to the coaching staff and says, hey, I don't want to come off the field when we switch, which he probably is going to for Carrington Valentine. But either way, that's where Bullard's head's at, right? He's trying to get better. But that's another guy. You could blitz Javon Bullard. We've seen that. And let Bullard come free at home. You can blitz Hobbs. Let him come running free. There's so many different angles of how you can come. And I understand that if you only blitz 4, I can drop everybody else back into zone and make them have to pick us apart going down the field in dink and dunk style. And that's what they did last year. And if we're being honest, it worked for the most part, right? I mean, they didn't have, I don't know how many. I'd have to go back and look. But I don't think they had many 100-yard receivers against them throughout the course of the year. There weren't many. So it worked from that perspective. But if the name of the game is to get to the quarterback and hit the quarterback, then I am open to blitzing more than 17.3% of the time. What about you? The Nicolay Law Fan Talk text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250, Facebook and Twitter at The Fan Milwaukee. What say you, Tommy?
I do think that there should be a little bit of a caveat here because I think the athleticism of the linebackers doesn't necessarily mean more blitz packages should be drawn up, because I think the benefit of the athleticism of the linebackers is how quickly they are able to get from each side of the field where they are. So
sideline to sideline.
Sideline to sideline, exactly. With that being said, you remember when we were doing the Green Bay football post-game show last year, when did Quay Walker really start to emerge and show that he had a lot of value to this team? Is when they were doing those up-the-middle blitzes with Quay Walker and showing how effective he could be when he gets a little bit of a running start and he gets one-on-one with a center. And Quay Walker started becoming, a game wrecker at that position for a couple of weeks there because of how valuable he could be just rushing up the middle. I do think the Packers need to increase that number a little bit, but I will also say last year, a lot of us were pretty happy and satisfied with how the Green Bay Packers defense was last season. That was not the reason why the Green Bay Packers were not in the playoffs longer last season.
This is kind of where I am at. My favorite defenses that I think quarterbacks fear are the ones where they're worried about getting their heads taken off. And running backs are worried about getting their heads taken off and holding on to the football. And I think of Rex Ryan-style defenses, Baltimore Ravens-style defenses, old Steeler defenses, right? I'm not going to go back to the Bears in 85. That's not real. Nobody's ever going to do that again as far as that dominant level. But playing with that aggressive, reckless mentality of trying to rip people's heads off. And I'm sorry, rushing 4 guys is not going to get that accomplished. That is not how you provide that physical style nature of football that this defense has been playing with so far. You do it by blitzing and getting after it and leveling people when they get the football. They have guys that can tackle now, right? The guys that can lay a thump. Bullard can lay a thump. Hobbs, if you watch Raiders tape, he's taking dudes out. Nixon isn't afraid to tackle. Evan Williams is a big hitter. McKinney's decent. You have guys that now can hit across the board on that defense. So why not play to that aggressive style? The only reason that you would not play to that aggressive style is if you don't trust your secondary. That's the only reason you don't do it. Okay, we're going to do this, but Sparky, if we don't get home and we get torched, I don't want to hear about it again, right? Because our guys can't run with the wide receivers. That would be the main reason why you don't do it. Because athletically, you have got the pieces where you can blitz from anywhere on the field if you want to. You can blitz McKinney, you can blitz Williams, you can blitz anybody you want, Charlie.
Tommy, yes.
Tommy, sorry.
I agree with you, Sparky. I do. But also, remember last season, Green Bay's defense was heavily reliant on just not giving up the big play. McKinney was always the free roamer back there. They struggled when they didn't have that the safety matchup of whether it was Bullard or Williams on the field, because I think they both need to be on the field for that defense to truly be at the top of its game. And it was because they limited a lot of big plays. That was their theme of their defense, and maybe they also just have a phantom trust in that front four. I think that's more the case from last season, is they thought they could get home with four a lot easier than they did last year. I think the sack numbers are inflated from a couple of weeks during last season. I don't expect the number to be much higher, but I do expect the blitz packages to go up for Jeff Hafley's defense.
Brewers look to extend their 6-game winning streak coming up tonight. They play host to the Mets. I'll go inside the clubhouse today at 3:20 this afternoon with Drew Wagner of Forbes Sports. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's. Live from the Wisconsin State Fair this afternoon, starting at 2 just outside the Expo building, looking at the Milk House here on The Fan. Coming up next, we'll go on the green with Mason Crosby. Him and Tommy Wirtz had a chance to sit down and chat with John Morden, founder of AGT Golf Book. And again, my preface on all of this is Tommy has not been this involved or this interested in anything golf-wise we've ever done on the station, I don't think, until this interview with John Morden. I think you would have been fine talking to him for like 2 or 3 segments.
Oh, yeah, I definitely could have. Yes,
right. Okay.
Definitely.
So we'll hear from John Morden coming up next. It's the Mason Crosby Show presented by Verizon, the official 5G network of the Green Bay Packers, live from the 1250 AM at 105.7 FM The Fan Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky.